Good morning. Welcome to the accountability room where women in bookkeeping and accounting come together to talk business, life, and everything in between. This week, we're going to be talking tools of the trade. So we'll check in, see how we're going, how business is moving along, and then share what works for us, what doesn't, and go from there. So let's do a check-in first. I want to start with Heather because the beautiful Heather Taylor is why this group exists in many ways. And she did have the
Mhm.
opportunity to kick us off and introduce herself last week. So, Heather, who are you?
Thank you. Yeah, so I had parent teacher conference last week, and today I have a cold. So hopefully next week I'll sound better, but I'm excited. This group was just really a challenge I took actually to pick something in my business I wanted to do and achieve. And I was like, and that I couldn't do it on my own. And so I had to find an accountability group. So I reached out, and all of you amazing ladies took the call and said, hey, yes, let's do this. And it has been a fun journey. I'm excited about it. So a
Right.
little about me. I have owned my accounting, bookkeeping business, payroll, since 2021. I started right during COVID. Perfect timing.
Sure is.
Jen, too.
Yeah.
Accounting wasn't where I wanted to be. Becca did a really sweet introduction for me last week. I've had a couple different businesses before I landed in, I guess, where I'm supposed to be, because every stepping stone brought me back to bookkeeping, back to accounting, back to payroll. So it's been a fun journey, and it's really exciting. And I've loved the opportunity to kind of get together with ladies and see that we all have the same challenges.
Yeah,
They might be a little different in business, but we all have the same challenges. We all have the same struggles, and we all have the same goals.
Certainly.
So
Yeah.
we all want to take what we know and share it with the world. So well, yeah, thanks.
Well, thank you for sharing your vision and helping bring this together because prior to the podcast, this was a support group essentially. Not just
Yeah.
accountability group, but like, I'm struggling. What do I do? And I think that we've all found different elements of growth. If not immediate business financial growth, like, oh, here's a process. I'm on my path forward. Like this is hard for you too. I just need to sit with this. So thank you for that. Well, how was the week? How did you guys do with your growth goals last week? Who wants to kick us off?
I will, because I actually did really well with mine. So as I was telling you girls earlier, ladies, women, a local accountant, an accountant neighbor reached out to me on LinkedIn. She's right in the next town over. We got breakfast. She's interested in doing what I do. And so we were talking about, is there a partnership opportunity of some kind? And so we're going to reconvene in about a month. I'm going to write down all the things that I don't want to do, that I'd like to delegate. She's going to write
Yeah.
down the things that she wants to do and doesn't want to do. We're going to get together in about a month and see if there's any compatibility there. And so that's going to really, I mean, whatever comes of this, A, I made a new friend, which is great.
Yeah.
B, it's going to force me to really sit down and deep dive into what does the next phase of my business look like? What are the things that I want to keep? What are the things that I don't? I am
Totally.
struggling a bit with the things that I feel like I should or have to keep
Mm,
versus what I do and don't want to keep. So I'm, kind of grappling with that. But, I think my accountability thing last week was I was trying to figure out, oh, who am I going to hire? And I was like, well, I don't actually know what they're going to be doing. So maybe I should figure out what they're doing before I figure out who I want to bring on. And so this very conveniently put that front and center for me this week.
nice.
And I made a lot of good strides with it.
As I'm hearing you speak, it's so funny because I'm also in another group that I love so much, and we're talking about the power of our language. And one of the things they're mentioning is stop shitting on yourself. Like, how many times do you shit on yourself a day? And when I see like the things I don't want to do, I hear should and have to. And so part of me is like, maybe those get to be the first things you offload. If those are the things that are not feeling good to you, and that you're not like, I get to do this, maybe that gets to be an element of just a thought of transition.
It's the cleanup and the setup work.
Yeah.
And I think where I get torn with that is by keeping that all to myself, I can already see the bottleneck that will form at some
Mm-hmm.
point.
Mm-hmm.
By letting it go, it's like that is very much the relationship building time and the kind of
Mm.
the setup, building of the processes with that client. And so is that, more than I should be giving up. And then there's where I say, you don't have to delegate everything all at once.
Mm-hmm.
So I can have tasks that are delegated in phases, and I can have a future
Yes.
phase where I say, okay, I want to figure out how to delegate this thing and still maintain these relationships and still maintain these processes.
Yep.
And how do we do that and give myself more time to figure that out?
Yeah, I love it. Beautiful. That was
And
a
I think
good week.
I think having that accountability person, like you've been talking about wanting to get those processes, but that's why meeting with people is so
Yeah.
important because now it's like, okay, well, if I don't show up with an idea or thoughts, then I fail that individual. It's really hard sometimes to just put it on yourself because we find other things to put that we find are more important.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, yeah, having that other person to really focus in. So that's great that you have that going now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm really excited.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I totally posted the 3 blog posts I was supposed to post last night because this group was coming up. That was accountability matters.
It sure does.
I love
Yes.
it. Co, how
Well,
was your week? Or Jen, go ahead. Sorry.
no, yeah, go ahead.
My week was good. I think last week I said I would take a deep dive into the Amazon
Hmm.
e-commerce and accounting side of it, which I did. It looks in the beginning scary, but I think once I really learn and understand the process, that'll be good. So my client and I are, both working on that stuff. He has gotten the products that he's going to sell. So now it's just getting everything together, making sure we have the inventory down packed, and he's going to decide. But I think in the beginning, he's going to have Amazon do everything, ship everything
Oh,
to
okay, yeah.
Amazon, which would be
So
great because
that's
if
super cool.
someone has Prime, they get their products right away. And
I
then
have
it's easier on him and me as well. So just trying to connect the two, Amazon and our QuickBooks, and see how all that's going to fit in because I've never done anything
Will
like
they
that
be doing the
before.
inventory for him then as well? Like I imagine they have some sort of inventory tracker. Or are you still, I
They
mean, you have to
do
balance it, but
actually. They'll keep
all
track of
right.
that for you, but we still need to, try to
Reconcile
combine the
it, yeah.
two systems and see how that's going to work out.
I think that that's a really great solution using the Amazon shipping.
Mhm.
I've watched a couple of YouTube individuals that do Amazon, and they said although upfront it's a little bit more time consuming, and you do
Mhm.
have to send a good amount of inventory, so upfront cost,
Mm,
it makes it so it offloads later on, and it's consistent. So you consistently know what shipping is going to be. If you do it, then shipping will constantly change, and you may end up losing a lot of money
mm,
if you are incorrectly calculating that shipping cost. So
mm.
just handing it off to Amazon, definitely a great choice.
Exactly. And they will handle all the returns, the complaints if there's any.
Good.
They
Mm,
handle
Yeah,
everything. I mean, on the flip side of
perfect.
that, there are fees that you need to pay
yeah,
Amazon for doing all of that.
Yeah,
But I think in the
valid.
long run, it'll be worth it.
yeah, yeah.
It's huge. I love that. That's a big win. So what does the learning piece look like for you in that arena? It sounds like Amazon is sort of a plug and play almost, and you're really digging into how you integrate their system with your accounting piece. What
Mhm.
does that look like for you this week? Like, what are you learning as you're digging into that?
Well, this week I'm gonna learn with which I've already been putting it together because thanks to AI,
Heck yeah.
yes, it makes a whole lot easier.
Sure does.
Just how to account for certain things, the charts of accounts, and then you need clearing accounts and all of that and then which I didn't know until I started researching this process. When Amazon get paid, they hold on to your money for like 14 days plus
That's a big turnaround.
7. So 21 days before they even deposit
Is
anything
that
into
for
your account
returns?
for in sales.
Is it
For
because of they're anticipating a return though? Is that why? In case there's a return?
I'm not sure.
is
Hmm.
that long term? Because I operated a little e-commerce shop before, and I was on Amazon for a couple minutes. And what I typically see is that's the case for your first month or your first X amount of sales. Like that's usually a
That would be
probationary
great
period
because
thing.
I took it as forever.
Yeah, check into that and see if that is a long, that is the payout turnaround time or if
Mhm.
that is a probationary turnaround time.
Okay.
Hmm. I could see though if they have, a certain return policy, if they have a general window
Hmm.
when those usually happen. But a 21-day turnaround time does feel like I mean, it's something that you'd need to buffer in for having finances to carry you through through a
Yeah.
little longer.
For a small business,
Right. Yeah.
that's a lot. That's like 30, that's like forever.
Yeah. And then it takes time when you get it into your system. Sometimes, depending on what payout you're using, there's another few
What
days.
bank
So,
account you're using? Yeah.
yeah. So,
I worked with an inventory company that we outsourced to. It wasn't an Amazon, but it was a drop ship type location, and they had a similar thing. So they held the funds for the first 21 days, but then they would hold a percentage of the funds for a while. So it could be kind of something like that too, where they're holding it for a certain amount and then they'll hold a certain percentage for those returns and things. So after like the 21 days, you'll probably start seeing the residual return come through, but they'll continue to kind of hold the reserve as it keeps going.
good to
So
know. That's wild. Big week. I love it. Jen, I didn't mean to speak over you earlier.
I know
What were you gonna share? For how was
Oh,
your
for
week,
my
Ladybug?
week? Yeah,
Yeah.
my week was good. My last week goal was hiking, which did not happen. However, I did start wearing my Fitbit again. So I
You're a
am,
human Tamagotchi.
yes. So my steps in general are up. I went walking around at the Y while the kids swam, and I at least increased that. I did not get out in nature though, so still a goal. Yeah.
Today is beautiful. Today's the
Today is
day.
beautiful here. You have a great time.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not hiking, but
It sounds nice for you though. I love that. Okay, fair enough. Heather, how was your week?
it has been a busy week. It's been a crazy week. I passed my finals, my last two finals.
Very exciting.
I've got one semester left with two classes and my final project. So super exciting.
Until you enroll in another program because your name is Heather Taylor and you love to learn.
I am a continual learner. No, I was looking at something last night and I was like, stop, just stop. Because no more, no more. No. And I actually had had a recruiter call.
Sure.
Yeah, had a recruiter send me some information about like completing an MBA and forensic accounting. I was like, ooh, no, we're not doing that. So I'm learning the value of the word no. So that's kind of my focus. But yeah, it's been a good week working on a couple of proposals and projects. So I've got a little bit of traction coming that's been exciting. And kind of my whole focus the last little while has been foundations and just kind
Nice.
of restructuring because um, I realize that in some of what I've done that my business has always been a side hustle because I've always had another job or
Mhm.
another contract or something I've always been working on. And I really feel freeing right now because it's all me. Like I've 100% when I stopped in February and with the contract I was working with, and I was like, I'm just doing this for me. I'm 100% putting
Yes.
myself into my own business. There's been a lot of freeing feelings in that. And so part of that is like learning the word no because
I was
I'm
gonna
like, no,
say,
I'm not
find your
going
For
no.
sure.
no.
Yes.
So I'm not going back to some of that. But yeah, so it's been super good and I've had a lot of like eye-opening insights on just because I am focusing 100% on my business. Like things that I really do want that I've always just been like, "Oh, this is good enough. I'll just do it." Kind of that. I think we've talked in our meetings before like that. You're new and so you take every yes opportunity that you can. And so being able to kind of set some of those boundaries as I'm building my foundations this week is just it's felt really good to say no. And it's felt really good to be able to see that there's so much opportunity out there. You just have to find it, right? You just have to find your little stream that you're gonna go down and grasp as you go.
Yeah.
So just yeah.
Love that. It makes me think of two of my very favorite books. I love them. I love them. I love them. Are similar to what you're speaking about. And one is The Atomic Habits, where it's just 1% better
Such a
Want
good
to
book.
read that
every day,
so
Yeah.
bad.
right? And when you keep saying yes to every little thing, you're just obliterating your habits, right? Like you're always going to be stuck in 1%, 1%, 1%. You're not actually going to develop any habit if you're spread out so everywhere. So I was free thinking about Atomic Habits. And then the other one is Essentialism. Ugh, that one is life changing. But one of the things she says in there is if it's not a, oh my gosh, heck yeah, it's a heck no. Like not doing it, it's a no. And so I love hearing you say no because I don't see you as a big no girly, but you were like, no's a
No,
complete sentence and I'm doing this and you look empowered and I'm proud of you.
What if you
it
have like a
feels good.
dog personality and everything makes you excited and you're like, yeah, to everything? That's my problem.
Then you're probably a very capable habit maker and
Yeah.
you can build them. But yeah,
Make sure
it's
you
hard. It's hard.
Yeah,
So
make sure your tail is extra wagging when everything makes you excited.
yes, very that. Very, very that. I love that.
On the topic of, I'm sorry, the atomic habits, there's another book called The Purple
Love a book.
Cow.
Hit me with this. What is this book? The Purple Cow.
Ooh,
Seth Godin. Why do I know that name?
And it's about actually advertising. How to advertise. How do you advertise when there's so much of the same thing? And you need
Mm-hmm.
to be able to I can't talk today.
Differentiate. You got it.
Right. Differentiate yourself from the next person. And so that's why it's called the purple cow.
Cool. I
Yeah,
love
because have
that.
you seen a purple cow? No. So you got to
Sure
make
haven't.
yourself
Yeah.
stand out.
Yeah.
Not until today, but I'll remember it.
Yeah, that's a good, yeah.
awesome.
Well, actually, that's perfect because it leads us into tools of the trade. Books are tools. I'm here for that. I'm always down to grab a new book. But what are the tools that you guys have really found that are just helping your business reach that next level or helping your body find
Financial
rest?
sense.
Yeah. Nicole, this one.
I used to spend and I in the bookkeeping space, I know we're not talking specifically to bookkeepers in isolation, but in the bookkeeping space, it's two big ones. And that is former Double, which used to be called Keeper, and Financial Sense.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up going with Financial Sense. And yes, I mean, like physically felt lighter once I got going with it because I used to spend like 15 to 20 minutes a day at least before
Yeah.
I'd sit down to start each client. I couldn't remember where I left off with them because it was all
Yep.
spreadsheet crap. And so, boom, I log in and the next thing is right there in front of me. What's done is
So
right there in
good.
front of me. And every single month, it automatically resets itself. And OMG, take my money. Thank you so much.
Yeah. No,
We
for
love
sure.
financial sense. Yeah. Hit it,
Yes.
Jen.
We do. I think with any tool, what's really important in business, I think, most of us, we start out as solopreneurs and our business works with just us. And we have a small amount of clients if we're in a service business or if we're doing other things. And it can all live in our head. It can all live in our email. It can all live in a spreadsheet because it's just us touching it. But when you want to expand, you have to get that knowledge out to other people. Where financial sense comes in is a great, or any other productivity, is to help get notes in there so it's not just in your head, so that you can consistently show up and know if you're talking to a client and someone else talk to them, you have notes of what was previously talked, so you don't have to have that same conversation again. You can pick up exactly in your project, because a lot of projects, they can be a week long, they can be 3 months long, and remembering what happened 3 months ago is
Yeah.
really hard. But
No.
if you have a tool that everyone can go into and see what's happening, that is really where you can level up as a business owner, and really, instead of just working a job for yourself, you change your business into an actual business.
And thank you,
Yeah.
Jen, for that because you put financial sense on the radar for me because I never
Yeah.
heard of it.
Yeah, yeah, it's such a great tool. We're still, I mean, I had it as just a solopreneur. Adding Becca, it was definitely more important for
Yeah.
more information to be in there, but still refining that process and still going in and reviewing. We talked about that last week, is looking at the past and analyzing what you did and how can it become better. It doesn't have to be every month, obviously, but if you're at least taking time on a quarterly and semi-annual basis to kind of review your processes and what can you do to move forward with it.
The non-accountant in the group, I'll say. So financial sense for me is an absolute because it takes away the need for me to ask Jen something 47 times because I can just add notes in it. So I have basically like the team tasks, I have step by step. It's almost like we talked about last week, a built-in SOP. but I also have the little section for notes. And so I can, while I'm learning it with her, take really detailed notes, and then I can look capable and competent and just follow my notes later instead of having to be like, hey, Jen, remember that thing we did 3 months ago that I don't remember how to do, but should be easy? So yeah, I'm with you, Nicole. I love that. It's a game changer. And it's huge, I think, especially if you're going to be onboarding another person. I know for Jen and I, that's been a big deal because she did not hire another seasoned accountant. She's been an accountant for, I don't know, you've been in it for 15 plus years.
Forever.
Right. And I'm not. And so having that really explicitly stated step-by-step guidance is such a gift.
And I'd like to add, we're not sponsored by Financial Sense.
No,
Yeah.
we just like it.
Yeah, we
But if
just like
anyone
it,
from there's
right?
listening, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Let us
Right.
know. No, it's a really great tool. That's funny. Awesome. I love
Yeah.
that.
I'm the one that went with double that used to be
Yeah,
cheaper.
tell us about that.
So
Yeah, I'd
yeah,
love to learn more about it.
it's been kind of the same thing, like, from what I've looked at, because Jen did introduce Financial Sense to us, and so I looked at that, and I think that they have a lot of different capabilities. There's a lot I think of that's similar, but, like, for my side hustle, it was spreadsheets. It was a Google sheet that I just had little check boxes, and I went down and, okay, this is done, and then I had the next column, and as soon as column A was done, I hit it and worked to column B, and so it was more kind of project-based instead of client-based, and I had a lot of times where I wasn't getting to the end of all of my client tasks. It
Mm,
was, like I would get done and work on the next task for every single client. So, like, being
Yeah.
able to use double has been helpful that way because I have all of my tasks and I've got my month-end close, and my background has a lot of auditing in it, and so, I really like the reports there in Double that I can go in and I can actually audit the work that's been done, and my husband
Yeah.
works with me, and kinda same thing, like, he's not an accountant, he's an outdoors guy, and he hates the computer, and it just worked out that he was my first employee, but being able to kinda give him tasks and be able to have that information in there is our flow is a lot better than it used to be with spreadsheets, and then I can double check his work as well, kinda that second set of eyes, making sure things are going the way they're supposed to, and be able to help him understand too, like, hey, as I'm auditing reports, I'm not just looking at just the profit and loss statement or just the balance sheet. I'm actually digging into a couple other areas that it gives me a little more detail that are
yeah.
simpler to see, So that's one of the things I really liked about Double is
Any
that
kind of
audit
practice
piece.
management tool is
Yeah,
huge, I think.
yep,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
It can really help just explain as we grow businesses and who we are as the business. You want our clients as we grow bigger, we're not going to be the only touch point. And so
Mm,
if we can create processes that it doesn't matter who is doing them, but the client still gets the same end result, that is what is really important. And we are in 2026. So, although pen and paper or spreadsheets are really useful, it is really important to start utilizing within your business to be
yeah.
competitive, is to make sure that you're using some sort of software, which when you're talking about software, you're also talking about some sort of AI
Yeah.
intelligence within that software, most of them. So getting onto the computer to help that flow for sure.
Yeah, it's huge. Agreed. Actually, Jen, that leads, I think, well into what I'm curious if your tool is. What is your tool this week?
So I am going to talk about Toggle, which
Okay.
is a time management piece of it. And although we do not charge our fees by time, time is what we have as individuals. And I think it's really important as you are growing and hiring on people and, taking on those different tasks and delegating that. How much time can you expect potentially someone to do the tasks? And what I really love about it with Toggle is you can break it out. We have it broken out by clients. And then within each client, we have 4 different projects that we specifically do. And then there's tags and a bunch of different features. But what's really important to me is seeing, how am I utilizing my time? Am I utilizing it well? Am I spending too much time here? Seeing how much time I'm personally just doing on the business versus working on the business and in the business and seeing that differentiation. But I think it's really helpful to, as we have the next hire, to look back and say, okay, yeah, because you can say, I really love, these 5 clients that I can delegate to someone else, specifically in the accounting world. But as we know, each client is completely different and has a higher or lower level. Like I could say, client A, I want this new person to do, and it literally takes 5 minutes. Or I have client B that can take 5 hours a week. So it just is so different. And so being able to analyze your time, I think is helpful, because we also get so attached of what we're doing and we switch back and forth, especially as business owners. Like for 10 minutes, we're working in email, and then for 3 hours, we're working in client stuff. And then, oh, I am going out and I am meeting up with someone within the community, and it can all mesh together. And I think we can very easily under or overestimate how much
Yeah.
time something actually takes. And Toggle has I use it mostly in web browser, but what's nice is that there is an app. So if I am out and about in a community event, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to make sure my sales piece is on. Or it also has a Chrome attachment and some other things. So I think on a standpoint of developing where your business is, time tracking is important, even if you are not billing on an hourly basis.
I think it's been great. I like the app because sometimes I forget to sign out when I run to get Thea, and then I'm like, stop
Yeah.
from my phone or whatever. But it's just, you're right about having a better understanding, and a little bit, it gives them not just data that you can track for managing client processes and where you need to improve, but also it can hold me accountable a little bit. If I feel like, oh my God, I'm drowning, I'm working so much, I can go back and see what I did for the week and realize, no, that was actually very manageable. Let's take a breath. Maybe that's from something else. So any data can be really helpful. But yeah, that's a cool tool. I love that.
Data is so useful. Yes.
Yeah. Co, what's your tool?
My tool, well, you guys talked about financial sense. QuickBooks Online is what I use, which is great because now it integrates with a lot of other apps and things. But what I am looking for now is an SOP program, something to
Mm,
do SOPs. So the one I think I texted you guys about was Scribe, and then there's another one called Loom. And it was actually 3 I was looking at, and I can't remember what the third one is. But I was looking at those 2. Loom is video based. So as you're going through the steps, it videotapes everything for you. And
mm.
I believe it may transcribe it as well, or there's a written portion to it. And I know Scribe is all written SOPs. So those are the 2 that I'm looking at for SOPs.
And I
I
think
think
Looking at Loom too, not for SOPs, although I didn't think about that, so that makes me want to look at it more. Um, as I move forward, I want to offer sort of tiers plans for clients to choose from. And one of those plans, in lieu of a monthly call, they might get just a quarterly call, and then Looms for financial statement reviews the month that they don't have a call with me.
Oh,
So
that's a
Loom,
great idea to
I've
use
love
heard of
that.
people
also.
using Loom for that too. So Loom might have
Mm.
a couple different uses for you. Not putting
Mhm.
down Scribe. I haven't looked into Scribe at all. So, but
Mhm.
let us know what you find because I'm
Mm,
interested in that too.
okay. Yeah. That's a good idea. Never thought about that. And then there's on board, the video, like a welcome to your company's name. We're glad to have you. That kind of stuff. And then give a
Probably even do
list.
that during the prospecting phase too, like before you meet with them, prep for the call kind of thing.
Yes. 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 I just found
If
new uses
anybody's
for that.
just getting started, it's not as, I like Loom better for those kinds of things, but we did have somebody that we were working on the sort of sales pitch piece of it, and I wanted to send him a video, and we didn't want to bring on additional subscriptions at that time, so I used Microsoft Clipchamp, which is just the free one on your computer, and it's really similar to Loom.
Mm.
The free version is obviously not as robust, but it did allow me to, give my 10-minute video with in it and just send the introduction or whatever else. So for anybody who's maybe just getting started and that subscription anxiety is kicking in of another subscription, there is often a free tool available. So just sharing them. Yeah, those sound awesome.
Yeah, very cool. I think it definitely helps with, again, getting the information out of your brain into some
Yes.
sort of software where other people can look at it and really creating a business versus just creating that personal job for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that you could charge your clients for, writing their SOPs.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's very
Yeah.
true. Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually that's so one of our clients this week was their administrator put in their 2 weeks notice.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's only actually 2 individuals. She's an amazing woman. She has near almost $1 million in revenue, and it's just 2 people. And so this individual leaving, it's a huge piece of the business, and it's like, oh my gosh, like what do you do? What do we need to make sure is captured within the scope? So she's writing some things down. We've offered up Loom, but the next time this happens, like we do want to make sure that these things are in line. So perhaps, yeah, perhaps we can work that into her new scope of work, because we did tell her that we could take on some tasks and we're going to write up a new scope of work, but perhaps offering some of these tools so that she's not in a crunch of, oh my gosh, how do I continue business
Mm-hmm.
and be so reliant on someone?
Mm-hmm.
Because let's be honest, unfortunately, we're all replaceable.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
100%.
I have a
Yep.
friend though that said, just be humble enough to know you're or that you're replaceable, and just cocky enough to know that it's a downgrade. So
Mhm.
Yes.
Was that?
we are.
I'd love to hear how they end up working through that because that's a big fear of mine as I've been sitting here and talking about delegating things and looking at what tasks do I want to give up. And I'm looking at all these tasks and I'm going, if I bring on a bunch more clients and the person doing these tasks leaves, I now have potentially more work than I can handle by myself. So, oh crap. And so that's something I'm thinking about like, okay, as I grow this, how do I continually keep that risk on my radar and mitigate it?
For sure. And hopefully we all try and hire people that do give us notice. Like this one individual, she said she has 2 weeks, but obviously and she's like, and I'm open to giving instructions or doing things after the 2 weeks, but you never want to overextend people. But I think that's where you have a good relationship always with your employees, good
Yeah.
conversations so that you know ahead of time. Because life changes, right? Like maybe a new baby comes or a death in the family or just life circumstances that you can, as a business owner, you may have to take on things for a little bit, but you have processes in line that you already know how to search for someone, and it will be messy for a little bit, but that's okay.
Mhm.
So did you share your tool of the trade queen?
He did. We talked about a
Double?
double that you speak
Mhm.
keeper.
Okay,
Yep.
that's the one you're gonna share. Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Oh,
I love it. Well, let's move into our growth edge. Each one of you incredible humans has not only built your own business, but are actively growing it. And so I think it's helpful to stay on track with that and talk about what is it that you guys are doing or committing to foster that growth and abundance as you move forward. So what is your growth edge for the week?
So
I'll jump
I
in.
am going to continue learning software. So ProConnect. I have also been utilizing AI, which is so helpful. I do not know how I would have done as a since Becca does not do accounting or tax.
Mhm.
I can easily go over to one of our AI tools. I'm currently using ChatGPT and saying, hey, how should I answer this question? And just going back and forth and making sure that things are ticked off. So, learning my system still, ProConnect. And then I still need to get back into Claude with the spreadsheets and learning that. So, that's kind of my goal again. Well, finishing up, I am almost finished finalizing a tax return with ProConnect, and chat's been so helpful.
Love it.
So part two of my whole delegation partnership exploration thing is I keep a vision plan document in Google Drive that
I love
maps
it.
out, I sat with it at the beginning of the year, kind of mapped out some things that I want to do throughout this year. But then I also look at year 3 of my business, year 4, year 5, and I put in things like what ages my kids will be. Will they be in school full time yet or not? Et
Nice.
cetera, et cetera. To kind of give myself like that like capacity reminder of, hey, like a time is coming when you will have more capacity to put into your business.
Mhm.
And like this season's just not it. So this thing that you want to do, you don't have to give up on it. You just put it on a shelf for a later season of life. As I talked about earlier, there are things that I um can delegate now that I can delegate later, etc., and maybe incorporate that in my vision plan of like, what are the things that I kind of want to get off my plate immediately? What are some things that I need to establish better processes for first before I can give it off? Because I need to know what I want that process to look like before I let someone else start doing it. And yeah, incorporate that into that vision plan.
I love it.
Very cool. Yeah.
Like,
You have to know where you're going to get there. So smart. Smart to start
GPS.
with a map. Yeah, 100%.
GPS.
I love that. It's everything.
We could paper maps it, but that would take longer.
A little bit.
MapQuest. Well, printing out MapQuest directions.
Dear
Definitely used to do that.
Lord. Yes.
Co, what's your
Continue to learn Amazon side of things, and then also make a decision or on, SOPs and start, because I need to start doing that for my business. And that's probably going to be all going, just setting up SOPs.
Yeah, I
Very
love a
good.
good SOP. You know I love an SOP. Sweet, Heather, what you got?
so like I mentioned, I'm kind of going back to the foundational stuff. So I have a lot of SOP stuff that I'm trying to do my SOPs through the month as I do the tasks, and then go back at the end of the month because we all know
Yeah.
in accounting that the first 2 weeks of the month are the craziest. So we're right at that beginning of the month. So as I'm doing those tasks for my clients for the next couple of weeks, I'm doing some SOP writing and then reviewing toward the end of the month, a little at a time, so it builds. And then kind of, like Jen's talked, and we've talked a lot about making that time to work in your business, so it's not just the job that you're working in the business, but then on the business. So kind of my growth edge this week is just continuing to get those foundations in place. I'm writing a business plan. I revamped my business plan since I took over full time. So kind of finishing the pieces of that up and making sure I set aside time for what's important. That's
I hear a lot on this call of sort of 3 key areas, which I appreciate. And one is focus on the vision, right? Keep moving forward, standardizing. So we've talked a lot about like SOPs. That's been a big one. So data consistency so that you can get to where you're going and learning. And I like that those have been so consistent throughout this group of just the awareness that like we don't know everything, but we do know where we want to go. We are documenting what's working and we are going to keep learning to get there. So I appreciate that and I respect the grit and the humanness in all of you. That's been fun to see.
Thank you.
All right. Well, good week. I do want to ask y'all to stay on for a hot second, but Jen, if you want to, does anybody have any final thoughts before we close it out?
Thank you, ladies.
Onward, beautiful humans, onward.
Nice.
Right.
Till next time.